They know exactly what they have to do. When you're playing a team with so many household names, your team has also got household names. How much do you try to impress upon your players not to worry about who's in the white shirt opposite you? Don't worry that it's Mbappe or Bellingham or whoever. Just worry about yourselves and show them how good you are. There are things that we cannot control, which is what they are going to prepare and what they can do. We have to focus, and our energy has to be on that, understanding what pushes in our strengths, and we put it in our weakness in the direction that we want to play in the game. Finally, from me, obviously 2 legs, so this is the first half. Second half is away. How important is it that you go to Madrid with a lead? I mean, tomorrow you don't want to lose, obviously, but how important is it that you actually win tomorrow and win well, so you're set up for the second half? Very important, but it will be just the first legs, as you mentioned. So obviously the intention of the team is very clear. We want to achieve tomorrow and we're going to go for it. August 2021, Martin Ødegaard committed to a long-term contract with Arsenal after a loan spell from Real Madrid. How important has he been to shaping Mikel Arteta's mentality and leading your team through this period? Well, I think it's very important for the football club because we recruited a player that fits every quality to deliver performances and the demands that we want, and then the person that is an exceptional representative of the values of this football club, our history, and obviously people too, from where we were to where we are, the role that he's played and how much he has contributed to be playing where we are at the moment. You grew up for 3 long years here, the vast region where you come from. Is this the key test for you? Is this one of the biggest matches of your coaching career, the mantle of Real Madrid? Well, it is one of the most special things. It's a competition that we've waited for many, many years. The fact that we've only been twice at this stage in 15 years, with the size of Arsenal Football Club, the difficulty of that, and we're going to, as I said, create our own story and go even further, and tomorrow is a beautiful opportunity for all of us. I wanted to ask you about Jurrien Timber. Is he fit enough to start? And you've placed him in so many different positions this season. What does it say about him as a player? And how great is it for you that he is so multifunctional? Incredible. I mean, probably nobody realized the player that we signed until he stepped through that door and started to show every quality that he has on the human side again because he's a leader. He had a really tough start, having a really difficult injury, almost a year out, and then to do what he's been doing this season is just remarkable. As you mentioned, different position, with different demands, always so consistent, and hopefully tomorrow he will be in the best condition to play the game. Does an attack with Mbappe, Vinicius, Rodrigo, Bellingham demand a special plan, or one of the best defenses in Europe that you have is ready already for this Mbappe? Yeah, for sure. I mean, with individual qualities that they have, especially when you put them in certain situations, you know the danger that you are facing. But that's the stages. I mean, it doesn't get much bigger than that. That's why consistently they've been doing what they've been doing in this competition is that they can create those moments. And when it comes to the biggest stage, individual performance, players can decide the games are critical for your success. Obviously, something that we have to prevent for sure. You mentioned how there maybe hasn't been a game like this for 20 years for Arsenal. Well, 20 years ago, Arsenal played Real Madrid in the Champions League 2006. There were some similar circumstances, a lot of injuries for Arsenal at that time, a lot of unusual defense in some respects. Does that game serve as a reference for you at all? And can it be an inspiration for your players tomorrow night? Well, it's an inspiration for sure because as well that generation, what they achieved is what we want to achieve, certainly. Very different, 20 years, a long time in football, very different context. But the history is there, unfortunately. It's too far to be very relative to the situation that we are in. But there are things to take from there and be inspired for sure. For yourself, as a Spaniard, does this fixture have a special significance for you? Your history, of course, with Barcelona as well. I mean, it must mean a lot to you. It does mean a lot to me. And it's a club that has set new standards in world football. That's why they've done it more than anybody else. So that's an inspiration from any manager, any club. This is what we want to be. This is where we want to belong, and these opportunities have to be taken in order to go in that direction. Obviously, last season was the first time in, I think it was 14 years, that you got to the Champions League quarterfinals. How do you think the team's developed since then? Do you think they're in a better place mentally to cope with the pressure of this kind of game now? I think we are. And building those experiences is something necessary. That's why I said that we have to build our own story. Because as you said, there is a massive gap there for so many years when nothing has happened in this football club in relation to European competitions. And we need to change that. And we need to change that quickly. When you look back on that by time, do you feel the team didn't maybe express themselves as they could have done because of the occasion, and that they will learn from that this time? Especially moments in the second leg, because there were moments in the first leg, especially in the first half, where we absolutely had them. And we have to utilize those moments. We wrote this, and you have to put the game to bed, and we did it. And on top of that, we gave them 2 goals, and we made life much more difficult for us on the return leg in Munich. They have this aura in the Champions League around being able to win games. How psychologically do you prepare the players for that and not have them looking at this team who can pull off miracles when they go down and out? That's their history, and they have earned that. That's because of the mindset that they have. So you can't ignore that. That's a fact. I don't want to talk about it because we all know about it. So let's talk about what we have to build and what we have to do and how we can feel inspired as well from these occasions. And just as well, look at what we do and the fact that they haven't been successful all the time, because it's impossible. So from 20 times, maybe you win 5. That means that you haven't won the rest of the 15, so it's very difficult to do it. And we're in a position that we have competed against any team in the last 2 years that we have faced. So we can do it again. I'll take you back just briefly to Eindhoven. When we were watching the players warm up, it was a stadium full of people shouting for their team in a big game. Do you dream of the Emirates being a place tomorrow night where your players are just, not before they're playing, but warming up and also having that tough atmosphere? I encourage them to come very early to the warm-up and create those nights that we haven't lived many of those at the Emirates. So that's an opportunity again. When we have built history, we have to build moments. And a moment is being built with our people, and we have to create that energy, that belief, that enthusiasm to play every single action there. Because the bonus, the confidence that that gives you, there is nothing else that we can replicate, that I can tell the players constantly to maintain that throughout the 95 minutes that it is going to be played.